What's up, guys? It's me again. Today, it's me, CJ the Boss Burgers Movie Fan 2008 here, and today I'm going to do a review on one of the best movies I've ever watched in nearly 16 years of my life, Castaway, starring Tom Hanks, aka the guy who played as Forrest from Forrest Gump, and Woody from Toy Story. So basically, what the plot is, it's about this guy called Chuck. He's a head of the FedEx. He's about to get married to his girlfriend Kelly, but he has to go to this other country to deliver a parcel. But the plane randomly run out of gas in the middle of the night. Then it crashes into sea. Everybody on board dies, but Chuck manages to live, and then he gets stranded on an island, stuck on an island, and tries to get off. That's basically what the plot is. Now, guys, I discovered this movie years and years ago. Like, after I watched Darwin and Chipmunks Shipwrecked, when I heard a lot of hated reviews on it, I was like, why is the movie hated? When I saw reviews saying this movie absolutely ripped off Castaway, I was like, wait, what's Castaway? I've never heard of that movie. So then I searched it up, and I was like, wow, this movie. I watched the trailer, and I was like, wow, this movie actually looks pretty cool. It says Tom Hanks. I was like, oh, cool, he played as Woody from Toy Story. So I decided to try and find this movie, give it a watch. And I decided to give the movie a watch, and what did I think of it? I loved it. Sorry, it was just Jeremy texting me back, and I was saying, yeah. So yeah, I loved this movie. I was hooked. I loved this movie very, very much. When I saw the DreamWorks logo, I was like, wow, this is a DreamWorks movie. And yeah, I do like DreamWorks live action movies. They are very good, like Saving Private Ryan and Transformers 1 and 2. I think the third movie's DreamWorks. I don't know. Like, seriously. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, and Mouse Hunt. Yeah, Mouse Hunt is a classic. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, yeah. And I got this movie on DVD this year. I rewatched this movie back in, like, 2021. And I just thought it was a still great movie. But then I rewatched this movie last year. Like about a couple days before Christmas. No, not really. The 28th of December 2023, I was rewatching Castaway. I actually rewatched Castaway when it aired on TV, and I still absolutely loved it. And I was like, wanting this movie on DVD. So I was like, I have to get this movie on DVD. And then I got it back on DVD back in January, which was awesome. And this is the first opening logo I did to a movie, which, yeah. And when I do a logo of the ending, I don't know if there's an ending to the movie, but yeah, I know there was another logo at the beginning of this movie, but I didn't record that bit that time because I was sending that opening scene to one of my family members. So yeah, and so, yeah, some country, yeah, on like some streaming apps, I think. At the beginning, this movie's like showed with 20th Century Fox, but on some other streaming apps, it shows DreamWorks pictures at the beginning. Yeah, on my DVD it shows DreamWorks. Yeah, I prefer this to be a DreamWorks movie than a 20th Century Fox movie, if I'm being honest. Which this movie is an absolute masterpiece. And which movie do I like better? You might ask, Forrest Gump or Castaway? Honestly, it's actually a pretty hard decision, if I'm being honest. So yeah, it's actually a pretty hard decision. I don't know which movie I like better, Forrest Gump or Castaway. They're both really great movies. I rewatched Forrest Gump on Saturday, and it was still a masterpiece. Which, yeah, it was his 30th anniversary, which I will review on Forrest Gump at some point. Yeah. But yeah, there is one thing I actually there's lots of things I love about this movie. I'm going to tell you the most recent one. I really love the volleyball that he had called Wilson. When he says, Wilson. Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, when he had Wilson, the volleyball, it was very funny. I started to get along with that. Like, there was actually a Wilson volleyball, which it was very funny. He was best friends with volleyball. Yeah, and there's also a Wilson basketball at my school, which, yeah, I'm not telling you what school I go to because it's private. personal reasons. So yeah. But the scene where Wilson leaves, then Chuck says this. Well, actually, no, I'll get to that in a minute. But then when Chuck, guess how long Chuck spent on the island? If you don't know who I'm talking about the character. If you don't know you want to know how long Chuck spent on that tropical island? Ready for this? 5.5 years. That's right. He spent 5.5 years on an island. Jesus, how does he even live? Like, how does he manage to survive? Do you have to like catch food to eat to live, catch fish to live? Like, seriously, like, and obviously not like died or something. Like, I'm surprised. I'm watching me heartless, but he actually managed to survive. I was like very shocked when I saw the thing 4 years later. I was speechless. I was like, 4 years later. So I was like, that means he's been on the island for 5.5 years. Which, yeah, I was so surprised. But then when he escaped the island, I was like, wow, he actually escaped. But then when he turns back and looks at the island as he's leaving, he actually felt kind of bad that he left because he lived on there for 5.5 years, which, yeah, was pretty sad. But then the scene after that, when Wilson left, and then Wilson left Chuck, I was like, wow, that was so depressing. Wilson! I'm sorry, Wilson! I'm sorry, Wilson. Honestly, that scene was so depressing. Honestly, this might shock you. I may not like cry at movies or TV shows. This is actually gonna shock you and surprise you guys. I nearly cried at that bit. That's right, I almost cried at that bit. A tear, like, nearly dropped out of my eye. Like, my eyes were watering a little bit. Like, I nearly started crying. I didn't cry, but I nearly did. That's how sad that scene was. I'll watch it in a bit. But seriously though, that scene was so depressing. Honestly, I felt so bad. Like, after seeing that scene, like, I just turned away, and I couldn't bear to see it. Like, I didn't like cry at it when I was little, or when we watched it back in 2021. But when we watched it last year, I almost cried a little bit. I didn't cry, but I nearly did though. Like, it was super depressing. By the way, the people who think people are idiots for crying at films and TV shows, shut up. It's not their fault. It's emotional. Yeah, this is one of the most saddest movies I've ever watched in my life. Along with Stand By Me, which I'm going to review on that movie at some point. Turner and Hooch, which that movie's a classic. Let's see what else. The Simpsons movie where Marge left Homer, which that was very sad. Let's see. Kung Fu Panda when Oogway died. The first Madagascar movie, where Alex realizes that he's a monster, which I'm actually going to get to that in a minute. Let's see. Let's see what other movies are sad. Well, and We Bare Bears is the movie where Grizzly got took away, and Accelera, but this is the #1 most saddest movie of all time. Nothing will beat it ever. Not even the Garfield movie was very emotional, but it wasn't sad. But it's not the #1. Yeah, this Castaway will always be the #1 most saddest movie of all time. The Wild Robot not even the Wild Robot would beat it. Which, yeah, I'm excited for Wild Robot. Wild Robot's gonna be one of the most heartwarming movies ever made. It's like the Iron Giant and WALL-E mixed together to one big masterpiece. Because what the Iron Giant and WALL-E are masterpiece movies, which I love them both. Which, yeah. But then when he got home, he was like 4 weeks later. I was like, 4 weeks later? Wow, not bad. So then
He waited 5.5 weeks, and then at the end he reunited with Kelly, and he found out she got married and had a child. Then at the end, Kelly actually was pretty happy to see him, and then she actually said she loved him, and he's the love of her life. And then Chuck said, "I love you too, Kelly, more than you ever know." But then when he said, "You need to go home," which that line was pretty emotional. I'll admit that. Which and there's one and Manic and the scene where he was coming where he was in the middle of the road and he doesn't know where to go, and then it just ends there. Honestly, after rewatching this movie last year, I clapped at the end because how beautiful the movie was. Like, I absolutely loved it. The movie was sad, but the ending, the ending was okay. It's not. I don't hate the ending. I don't think it's underwhelming, or overwhelming, but I just think it was pretty sad. At least it's not bad as Khalid, like Star Wars for Evil, which I'm not gonna talk about that on my channel ever again. Which and Madagascar sort of reminded me of Castaway a little bit. I mean, it's not a rip off, but it did remind me a little bit, like when Alex got to an island, and then when he was trying to build the Statue of Liberty, he had this face thing with a handprint that looked like Wilson a little bit, and the scene where Alex was trying to build his own shelter. Yeah, it sort of reminded me of Castaway a little bit, which I have not reviewed on Madagascar. I only reviewed on the third movie, but I've not reviewed the first movie yet, or the second of Penguins of Madagascar, which I'm going to review on them at some point, so do not worry. So, yeah. And I agreed, I do like Alvin and Chipmunks Chipwrecked, but I agree it was a rip-off to Castaway. Castaway will always be better than Chipwrecked, which, So overall, guys, I give Castaway a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece. I love this movie very, very much. It's one of the best movies of all time. It's almost up there with Free Guy. It's one of the best movies of all time. This is my favourite live-action DreamWorks movie of all time, along with Transformers. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and skadoosh.